So you can see here I've added my second meandering path around the ocean here. And what we need to do now is we need to animate the walker travelling along the path, but crucially we want to get the camera to follow the walker, so as the walker moves along the camera moves so it doesn't ever move out of sight. So we need to now move up to code here in the top right hand corner and click on code, and to give yourself some space click on full screen. And if you've used Scratch or any of those other block-based coding environments, this shouldn't be too much of a problem for you to use. And the code for this is quite simple. So when play is clicked, which is the play button over here in the top right hand corner, we want some things to happen. But there's also some associations that we need to make. So the first thing we need to do is go down to items down here, and we want to add a child. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that relationships are really important. So we want a primary relationship and then we want a child to that. So we want to make the camera a child to the walker. So if we click on this drop down list here, which is why it's important to add all the things that you want to code into, make sure that CoSpaces slider is switched on, and if you can't see it, that's what you need to do. So what this means is that the camera is going to be a child of the walker, and that means that whatever we now do to the walker, the camera is going to do as well. So let's test this. At the same time, I also want to do a path here as well. I want to add the second path, so second path as a child to the first path. That means that whatever we now program the first path to do, the second path will take over. And now we need to first of all make sure that we can make the walker move along that first path. So we come to transform, and we're going to roll down here, and we want to see move first path on path first path. Click on here, and this is the first block of code we want, and we want to move the walker along the first path. Now I'm in this first test, just to make sure everything works, I'm going to make it last for 5 seconds, but you want your journey to last quite a long time, so you need to get the sense of that, you know, these journeys were epic, so you need to make that number longer. And we're going to come to the end of the first path, and then we're going to pause, because at the end of that path we're going to add information. But the first thing we're going to do is check and make sure our code works. So I fully expect the walker to move along the first path quite quickly, and I expect the camera to follow. So we're going to click on play and watch what happens. So we've taken off from the island, we're whizzing around our path, and we're going to stop at the second island. Perfect, we've got everything going, and what I need to do now is to tweak everything so that our path is travelled along much more slowly. But now I want to make sure that my walker waits here for a while, and you'll see why in a moment. So let's come back to here, and what I want to do now is I want to add a control block in here, and I want to use the wait block. Now this wait block is there for you to wait for the information. So we're going to have something pop up in a moment, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I just want to make sure that I can code to my second path. Now because we add the child to the second path, so if you had 5 paths, you'd have to have 5 children on here, and you'd have code that says third path to first path, fourth path to first path, and so on and so forth, because you want to have these gaps or breaks in your path so that at each wait point, information that you're going to upload to explain how navigation happened can be put on different objects, and we'll do that in a moment. So let's come back to transform, and we want to move again this one here. Now we want to move walker again, but this time on second path, and I want to wait for 3 seconds so that we can count that, make sure it's paused before it goes onto the second path. So again, I expect the camera to follow the walker, I expect the walker to be on the first path, then wait for 3 seconds, and then jump onto the second path and travel to the second rocky outcrop. Let's click play. I expect to wait for 3 seconds, and now it's moving again. Now obviously you're going to navigate our way to that next rock. Now the reason I've broken the path, which we can see behind the island here, is because that's where I want the walker to stop, and that's also a point where you can start putting some information in. So I'm going to show you now how you can put information in. You can put text, videos and audio, and also videos and images in. So I'm going to upload a picture to start off with. Click on upload here. I'm going to upload an image, and I'm going to upload and look for my stick chart picture. Here it is here. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to open this. So my stick chart is uploaded. So this is, and obviously how Polynesians manage to navigate. So I now want to put this into the environment here. I can use all the same tools so it can be seen. So I wanted to make sure it's the right orientation for the walker to stop. I'm probably going to lift it up into the air a little bit so it's out of the ocean. I might make it a bit bigger, and I'm going to perhaps lower it down a little bit and just have it orient around. What's that going to look like? That's going to be pretty good, I think. Might lift it up just a little bit more so it's above the island and above the walker. Maybe I will use these movement tools here just to move it a little bit further along. I can always tweak this. Obviously I'm looking at the reverse of this. So let's put some information in here now. So what I can also do is I can add some text. So if I come to library, I can come into here, I can come into building, and we've got these objects here. I can have a clear background or a white background. I'm going to have this white block here. I'm just going to add this into some space here, and I'm going to get rid of this. And I want to click on here. Now I click on the text and I can put my information in here, and you can put up to 1,000 characters. And I'm going to use those same tools, so I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to lift it off the ground, same sort of height. I'm going to use this here, and so now you can see we can put this information in. Let's click play this time. I don't need to animate these or do anything to them. Let's click and play and see what happens. And now our walker should wait by this information for 3 seconds. Obviously you would want to make that wait a bit longer, but you get the idea of how the code works. So here we go. Our walker sets off from the island, comes to the rocky outcrop, and there's some information that you can put in. Now that could be a video, that could be audio, and obviously you'd have to wait longer for that. But that's how you're going to put your information in to your 3D environment here to explain how Māori navigated their ways across the ocean to Aotearoa. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you can create.